There is a reason you keep saying, I want to change my life, while your life keeps looking exactly the fucking same. You wake up motivated. You watch a motivational video. You promise yourself, this time, I'm serious. Then your friend texts you, bro, come out. And suddenly, your 5-year plan has been replaced by chicken wings, video games, scrolling, gossip, and a conversation about a guy none of you actually know. Then you go home at 2 a.m. and say, tomorrow I'll start. Tomorrow becomes Monday. Monday becomes next month. Next month becomes next year. And somehow you are still standing in the exact same place, wondering why your life hasn't changed. Let me tell you something uncomfortable. Maybe the problem isn't your motivation. Maybe it isn't your intelligence. Maybe it isn't your potential. Maybe you're simply surrounded by people who make staying mediocre feel normal. Because your circle is not just who you hang out with. Your circle is what you slowly become. You think you're independent. You think you make your own decisions. You think nobody influences you. Bullshit. Of course people influence you. You are human. Research has repeatedly found that social relationships can influence behaviors, habits, stress, health, and even the way people respond to challenges. Nee summarizes research showing that behaviors such as exercise, eating habits, smoking, and alcohol use can spread socially. So stop acting like your environment has nothing to do with your behavior. If everybody around you sleeps until noon, you start thinking waking up early is weird. If everybody around you complains about money, you start thinking ambition is arrogance. If everybody around you spends every weekend getting wasted, you start thinking discipline is boring. If everybody around you laughs when someone talks about building a business, you start hiding your ambitions so you don't look different. And that is how people destroy their future without ever committing one dramatic mistake. They simply spend enough time around people going nowhere. And eventually, going nowhere feels normal. Think about this. If you put a healthy person in a room where everyone eats junk food every day, nobody exercises, everybody complains, and everybody stays up until 4 in the morning, that person is going to have a much harder time maintaining discipline. Not because they suddenly became stupid. Because humans adapt. We copy. We observe. We normalize. We imitate. You don't just learn from people when they give you advice. You learn from what they repeatedly do. That is why your friend's lifestyle can become your lifestyle without you even noticing. And here's the scary part. You don't need your friends to tell you to become worse. They don't have to say, hey, destroy your future. They just have to make destructive behavior feel normal. Come on. Skip the gym. Bro, it's only one night. Relax, everyone does it. Why are you working so hard? What's the point? Enjoy your life. And eventually, you stop hearing those sentences as excuses. You start hearing them as wisdom. That's dangerous. Because sometimes the person holding you back isn't a villain. He's your best friend. She's your best friend. They're people you genuinely care about. And that's what makes this difficult. Because cutting off toxic people sounds easy when you imagine some evil person standing in front of you. But real life isn't a movie. Sometimes the toxic person is the guy you've known since childhood. Sometimes it's your closest friend. Sometimes it's your entire friend group. Sometimes they're funny. Sometimes they're loyal. Sometimes they've helped you. Sometimes they genuinely love you, but they still aren't good for the direction you're trying to take your life. And you need the courage to understand that. You can love somebody without copying their lifestyle. You can respect somebody without following their advice. You can appreciate your history with someone without giving them control over your future. That's maturity. Because loyalty without boundaries becomes self-destruction. Now let's flip this. Because your circle doesn't only make you worse, it can make you better. The same social influence that can drag you downward can pull you upward. Imagine you're surrounded by people who train. You don't want to train? Too bad. They're going. So you go. You see them eating properly. Suddenly you're thinking about your own diet. They talk about books. You start reading. They talk about business. You start learning. They talk about goals. You start setting goals. They don't spend 5 hours complaining about their problems. They talk about solutions. They don't spend every conversation talking about people who aren't in the room. They talk about what they're building. That's a completely different environment. And after enough time, something strange happens. Discipline stops feeling like discipline. It becomes normal. That's the power of your circle. A good circle doesn't constantly motivate you. It changes what you consider normal. You stop thinking, damn, I'm working so hard. You start thinking, of course I'm working hard. Everybody around me works hard. You stop thinking, I'm weird for not partying every weekend. You start thinking, why would I destroy my sleep for people I barely know? You stop thinking, I'm crazy for wanting more. You start thinking, why the hell wouldn't I want more? That's the difference. Your environment changes your standards. And your standards determine your behavior. Your behavior determines your results. Your results eventually become your life. That's why this topic is so damn important. Because people obsess over goals. They write goals. They make vision boards. They download productivity apps. They buy notebooks. They watch motivational videos. They write 2026 is my year on Instagram. Then they spend 6 hours every day with people whose favorite hobby is complaining, and they wonder why nothing changes. You cannot build a powerful life while constantly protecting the habits that are destroying it. At some point, you have to ask yourself a brutal question. Who am I becoming because of the people around me? Not, are they nice? Not, have I known them for years? Not, will they be offended? Ask, who am I becoming? Because that's the question that matters. Look at your closest friends. What do they talk about? What do they celebrate? What do they laugh about? What do they spend money on? How do they handle failure? How do they react when someone succeeds? This one is huge. Watch what happens when somebody in the group starts winning. Do they say, that's amazing. How did you do it? Or do they say, bro got lucky. She's probably using connections. He thinks he's better than us now. That's jealousy disguised as humor. And if you're surrounded by people who constantly tear down successful people, eventually you'll become afraid of your own success. Because somewhere inside your mind you'll learn success makes people hate you. So you unconsciously stay small. You don't post a project. You don't start the business. You don't apply for the opportunity. You don't approach the person. You don't build the channel. You don't take the risk. Why? Because you're afraid of becoming different from your circle. Let me tell you something. If your friends only like you when you're struggling, those aren't friends. Those are spectators. Real friends don't need you to fail so they can feel comfortable. Real friends can watch you improve without feeling personally attacked. They can see you become stronger without deciding you've betrayed them. They can say, I'm proud of you. And mean it. That's the kind of person you need around you. Someone who challenges you. Someone who tells you when you're being an idiot. Someone who doesn't just clap when you win, but tells you the truth when you're screwing up. Because sometimes your biggest enemy isn't the person who criticizes you. It's the person who constantly tells you everything you're doing is fine. That's not support. That's comfort. And comfort can be fucking expensive. The U.S. Surgeon General's advisory on social connection emphasizes that relationships affect well-being through psychological, behavioral, and biological pathways, and reports that strong social connection is associated with healthier outcomes. So this isn't just some motivational quote about surround yourself with winners. Your relationships actually matter. But here's where people get confused. You don't need to become a billionaire and suddenly abandon everyone who isn't successful. That's stupid. Success isn't simply about how much money someone has. You can have a friend with very little money who has incredible character, discipline, honesty, courage, and ambition. And you can have a millionaire who is miserable, arrogant, addicted to attention, and completely useless as a human being. Don't judge people only by their bank account. Judge them by their direction. Where are they going? What are they building? What values do they live by? Do they take responsibility? Do they keep promises? Do they improve? Do they tell the truth? Do they encourage growth? Do they make you stronger? That's what matters. Because you don't need 500 friends. You need a few people who genuinely make you better. One disciplined friend can be worth more than 100 people who only want entertainment. And here's another uncomfortable truth. Sometimes you are the toxic friend. Yeah, it's easy to watch this and think, yeah, my friends are holding me back. But maybe your friends are thinking the same thing about you. Maybe you're the one constantly saying, let's skip it, let's go out, let's order food, let's play one more game. Bro, don't take life so seriously. Maybe you're the reason someone else isn't progressing. That's why you need to look in the mirror. Your circle affects your life. But you also affect your circle. You are somebody else's environment. You are somebody else's influence. So ask yourself, when people spend time with me, do they leave stronger or weaker? Do they leave inspired or exhausted? Do they leave focused or distracted? Do they leave thinking bigger or smaller? Because your responsibility isn't just to find better people. It's to become a better person worth being around. And this is where your life can completely change. You don't need to dramatically announce, everyone, I'm cutting you off, relax, Batman. You don't need a dramatic exit speech. Sometimes you just change your availability. You stop going everywhere. You stop answering every invitation. You stop participating in every stupid conversation. You stop explaining your goals to people committed to misunderstanding them. You start spending more time learning, training, building, working, reading, creating, sleeping properly. And suddenly, you don't have to cut people off. You simply grow in a different direction. Some people will follow, some won't. That's life. Your job isn't to drag everybody into your future. Your job is to build the future. And sometimes people will call you arrogant because you develop standards. Let them. Sometimes people will say, you've changed. Say good, because you're supposed to change. A tree that grows is not betraying the seed it used to be. You are supposed to become stronger. You are supposed to learn. You are supposed to evolve. You are supposed to outgrow old habits. And yes, sometimes that means outgrowing old relationships. It doesn't mean you hate them. It means your direction changed. Think about your life 5 years from now. Seriously, picture yourself. What kind of person are you? What does your body look like? What does your bank account look like? What skills do you have? What does your daily routine look like? What kind of people are around you? Now ask yourself, if I keep spending time with the exact same people, doing the exact same things, having the exact same conversations, what are the chances I become that person? That's the question. Because your future isn't created by one giant decision. It's created by thousands of tiny decisions. And the people around you influence those tiny decisions. Who you eat with, who you train with, who you text when you're bored, who you ask for advice, who you spend your weekends with, who you follow online, who you allow into your head. All of it matters. Your circle is not just the people sitting next to you. Your circle includes what you consume, the creators you watch, the accounts you follow, the podcasts you listen to, the conversations you participate in, the voices you allow to become familiar. You could be sitting alone in your bedroom and still be surrounded by people. If you spend 4 hours every day listening to people who tell you that you're a victim, that success is impossible, that everyone is against you, and that nothing is your fault, guess what? You're still being influenced. Your physical circle matters. Your digital circle matters. Your mental circle matters. Protect all three. And don't underestimate the power of a positive environment. Research reviewed by NE notes that people tend to become more like their friends over time, while also emphasizing that social influence can be used to support healthier habits. That means you can intentionally build an environment that pulls you upward. Want to read more? Find people who read. Want to train? Find people who train. Want to build a business? Find builders. Want to become financially disciplined? Spend time with people who understand money. Want to become confident? Spend time around people who aren't constantly seeking approval. Want to become courageous? Spend time around people who take action despite fear. You don't have to become them. You just need to expose yourself to their standards. Because eventually, their standards start becoming your standards. And then your standards become your habits. And your habits become your identity. That's the game. So here's your challenge. For the next 7 days, observe your circle. Don't judge. Don't attack. Just observe. Write down the names of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Then ask yourself 5 questions. Are they moving forward? Do they take responsibility? Do they respect discipline? Are they genuinely happy when I succeed? And most importantly, do I become better or worse after spending time with them? Be honest. No excuses. If you discover that your circle is dragging you backward, don't panic. You don't need to become lonely. You need to become intentional. Start meeting better people. Join communities. Go to the gym. Take classes. Build something. Attend events. Talk to people. Ask questions. Become useful. Become interesting. Become disciplined. Because the fastest way to find better people is to become someone better people want around. Stop begging for a better circle. Become the kind of person who naturally attracts one. And remember this, you don't rise to the level of your dreams simply because you dream bigger. You build systems. You build habits. You build standards. And you build an environment that makes those standards easier to maintain. So look around you. Look at your friends. Look at your phone. Look at your conversations. Look at your weekends. Look at your habits. Then look at the life you're getting. Because your life is giving you clues. And maybe the clue you've been ignoring is sitting right beside you. You keep asking, why am I not changing? Maybe because everything around you is designed to keep you the same. You keep asking, why am I not disciplined? Maybe because everyone around you celebrates comfort. You keep asking, why don't I have bigger goals? Maybe because you surrounded yourself with people who think your current life is already enough. And listen carefully. There is nothing wrong with wanting more. More discipline, more knowledge, more freedom, more health, more confidence, more purpose, more responsibility, more control over your own life. You don't owe anybody mediocrity just because they are comfortable with it. You don't have to shrink your ambition so your friends don't feel insecure. You don't have to apologize for improving. You don't have to feel guilty because you're becoming more disciplined. You don't have to remain the same person just because people remember you that way. Grow, build, improve, and if someone genuinely loves you, they'll eventually understand. Maybe not immediately. Maybe they'll joke about it. Maybe they'll question it. Maybe they'll say you're taking things too seriously. Fine. Let them talk. Your results will eventually answer for you. Because at the end of your life, nobody is going to care that you were popular with people who wasted their potential. Nobody is going to hand you a trophy for fitting in. Nobody is going to say, congratulations, you successfully remained exactly the same so nobody felt uncomfortable. No, you get one life. And you have to decide what you're going to do with it. So choose your circle carefully. Choose your influences carefully. Choose your conversations carefully. Choose the people you trust with your time. Because time is the one currency you cannot earn back. Money can return. Opportunities can return. Jobs can return. Relationships can sometimes return. Time doesn't. Every hour you spend around someone is an hour of your life. Spend enough hours with someone and they become part of your story. So make sure the people in your story deserve the fucking pages you're giving them. Find people who challenge you. People who believe in discipline. People who tell the truth. People who celebrate your wins. People who call you out when you're wrong. People who don't need you to stay weak so they can feel strong, and become that person yourself. Because the goal isn't to build a circle where everyone tells you that you're amazing. The goal is to build a circle where everyone pushes everyone to become better. That's different. That's powerful. That's how you create momentum. That's how you change your standards. That's how you change your habits. And eventually, that's how you change your life. So tomorrow morning, don't just ask yourself what you're going to accomplish. Ask yourself, who am I becoming? And then ask the harder question. Who is helping me become that person? Because your circle is either feeding your future or feeding your excuses. And the choice is yours. Choose carefully. Because 5 years from now, you may look back and realize the biggest decision you ever made wasn't the job you took. It wasn't the city you moved to. It wasn't the business you started. It wasn't even the risk you took. It was the people you decided to keep around you. So stop protecting relationships that are destroying your direction. Stop confusing history with destiny. Stop calling comfort loyalty. And stop waiting for your life to change while keeping the same damn environment that created your current life. Change the people. Change the environment. Change the standards. Change the habits. And eventually, you change yourself. Your future is watching what you do today. Make sure the people beside you are helping you build it.